Hey everyone, I'm Seth Williams. I'm a field CTO with Sublime Security. I've got experience in a number of different industries, but most of my career has been spent in the SOC. I used to work for the federal government at the Department of Commerce, where I managed an enterprise security operations center. So when I came to Sublime, I was super excited to see that they were offering solutions to the defender, to the individuals who are out there day and night, 24 by 7 by 365, trying to protect their environments. Um, so this tool, the EML analyzer, was a big draw for me, and hopefully today you guys can get a bit of information out of me. Maybe build this into your workflow when you're investigating malicious emails potentially, and hopefully get some value out of it. So what you see on the screen here is the link to the analyzer. Like I said, it's a free tool that you guys can use, who I am, and what we're going to be talking about today. So we're going to be really kind of overviewing what EML Analyzer is, how you can access it, both through a UI and API. Do a quick demo of what we can use it for to show you how different it might be to what you've been exposed to in the past. Some use cases that you can use it for, obviously, you probably know those very well. Some takeaways that you should leave our conversation with, and then if we have time, I can take some questions. But we'll shift screen over to our EML analyzer. So can everyone, we're good there. All right, so EML analyzer, as I showed you in the last screen, free tool. You can go there right now if you want to. And essentially, the way in which Sublime handles emails is a bit different than what you're maybe used to. We're very prescriptive in how we pull that somewhat unstructured data, including the body of the message, to then analyze that. We actually take the .eml file and parse it into a schema. We call it MDM, which is message data model. This message data model gives us a ton of control and granularity into what we're actually looking at. You guys are familiar with structured data from many different sources out there that you use to determine whether something malicious has occurred or that you're analyzing on a day-to-day basis across your tech stack. But EMLs have really been relegated to being a .eml, and we have to look at these large files and kind of sift through them. It's somewhat daunting when looking at an EML file. So Sublime has done a great job of giving users an easy way to look at this. Now, the benefit of the message data model is it allows us to use a language that we put together called MQL, message query language. This MQL is extremely powerful, and we're going to talk a little bit about that later and about what tools you can use out of MQL to really write a great detection that maybe was a bit more difficult in the past. We also have a Sublime core feed. So I'm going to show you that real quickly, just to give you some context around what this EML analyzer is going to do when you drop an EML in there. So our Sublime core feed is built by our detection engineers. It's open source, essentially. You see this button right here, GitHub, that pops you out into our detections. You'll see them as YAML files, but we've put them here in nice grouped tagged areas to show you what we're looking for when you drop an EML into the EML analyzer. So we have things like the attack types of callback phishing or reconnaissance, spam, extortion messages, tactics and techniques that adversaries use with regards to the way in which they want to exploit a specific user, whether they're doing VIP impersonation or providing lookalike domains. All told, Sublime is giving organizations with EML Analyzer over 900 rules that we're looking for. Some cool things that I really love to talk about are the detection methods that are available within MQL. And that's what you're seeing here in these boxes now. This includes things like header analysis, natural language understanding, which is a way in which we use artificial intelligence to understand the intent of a message, which is a really cool way to kind of understand whether someone is providing urgency or really kind of pressuring a user to make a change or do something that they otherwise wouldn't normally do. Optical character recognition, URL analysis, sender analysis, who is obviously, and screenshot. So all of these detection methods are available within MQL, and EML Analyzer uses these different rules. So we can pop in and see computer vision and what we do with computer vision. We use these rules to determine whether your message is malicious or not. So during the course of the investigation, so Patterson was talking in the last session, got asked a question like, what should you do in an incident? Who's been involved in an incident? When it comes to looking at user reports of phishing, you can absolutely make this a part of your workflow today. Whether, like I said, whether you use the user interface or whether you bake it into some programmatic API call, because we have a free API for Email Analyzer, you can bake this into your investigations with user reported phishing. And hopefully, which is what we've seen across our customer base, hopefully you'll be able to reduce the amount of time that you're spending determining whether something is or is not malicious. So we'll pop back into the Email Analyzer and we'll just briefly look at what you can do. So first things first, we have some sample EMLs down here that you can use to just get familiar with the EML Analyzer. So we could say QR code phishing. Click on that box and you're going to be brought to the EML Analyzer. So this is obviously bright red here. We'll pop this over. Bright red, something's bad occurred. We have this is one of our examples where we use our autonomous security agent in our enterprise, but what you're going to see is an executive summary. In other instances, we will see like an attack score. So we have an executive summary. It tells you why we believe it's a bad thing, and we show you the rules from that core feed that I just showed you that match. Now, here's something that really stands out to me, which is we show you where something or why something was blocked. So not only will you get our analysis of an attack score or an ASA verdict, is you get to see what rules matched. And if you pay close attention, these underlined sections right here will show you why they match. So we're looking for attachments in this case, and we see an SHTML file extension for the attachment. So it matched that. It matched that there was unescaped JavaScript identifiers, and then we saw this particular regular expression within this rule. So we're showing you the entire path by which we detected this type of email attack. So, and you get the rule feed names right here as well. So this is going to just give you explainability. During the course of an investigation on whether something is or is not bad, that's really what we're after. What is occurring right now? What is the blast radius of this? How can we contain this as quickly as possible? Has our user taken an action on this? So from this view, you can absolutely initially tell that, yes, this is bad. And yes, I need to tell my user immediately that they need to delete this message. You can go and pull that message from inboxes, and you can absolutely send a message across the board to your user base to say, if you see this, or get rid of it and block that message moving forward. Some other cool things, and I'll upload an email here real quick to show you some examples because I use EML Analyzer. So as a Sublime employee, it was one of the first things I did when I thought about coming to the organization. I was like, what are they up to? What are they doing? What are they providing to the community? And EML Analyzer was the first thing. So I took some emails that I received personally. So we'll upload a file here real quick with an EML. And this is to Seth, and my hidden deal expires soon. So, you know, this is a big deal, right? Well, not really. So this is from a home warranty organization that somehow got my email address a long time ago. And essentially, I now have a determination that this looks a bit fishy, because as we scroll down here, we can actually see the message. Looks a bit fishy. It's just an image that's within a message. But because we put this in there, we see that, oh, it's pretty legitimate, but we consider it gray mail. It's got opt-out language. It's from a bulk sender infrastructure. There's a one-click unsubscribe. Um, it's from an untrusted sender, though. We can see in those rules again that it has an attachment. It's from an untrusted sender, from a mass mailing vendor. We can see all the reasons why Sublime says this is a gray mail, right? So it's not nefarious, it's not malicious, but it is gray mail. So you have a determination. You can stand down the soldiers. You can say, all right, user, we are okay. We don't necessarily need to dive into this much further. It's just a piece of gray mail. It doesn't need to raise the alarm. But the cool thing is that you get a ton of information around message details. So we can see the links and body here. You can actually click on those links, and Sublime's EML Analyzer will do a soft click on these. Now, some of these URLs that you see here aren't able to preview something because it's not a previewable site, but you can really dive into the link analysis within the body of a message. So this is just one of the things that you can actually do as a user of the EML Analyzer to really investigate all sorts of things. So as I showed you the user view, we also have that message data model view. Now this is that parsed message. So if I wanted to see something like sender, I could absolutely enter in a keyword here and be pulled back to all sender keywords within this message. And that's really what this message data model does, is it parses that out so that we can not only execute our detections against that, and you get the benefit of that, but you can also really dive into the message itself to determine on your own if something is suspicious or malicious. So the message data model really opens up the aperture of what you've potentially been used to when it comes to analyzing messages. You can see here the difference between the MDM and the EML view. So you see, here's EML. You guys may be used to this if you've been doing this for a while, but if you're new to this, this is what an EML looks like. It's pretty large, right? We have a bunch of header information. We have authentication results. We have all sorts of details that are just kind of hard to parse through with the human eye. Well, when we change from EML view to MDM view, it's much more granular. So we can see all of our header information here, the auth summary on DMARC, whether it passed SPF, whether it passed DMARC, and get SPF results very, very quickly. So these are just a few examples of what you would see. Now, one thing to note here is that Sublime is a tool that organizations use, and Sublime learns about that organization's behavior. One thing to note with EML Analyzer is that we're not going to learn that, right? This is going to be a point in time. This is going to analyze a specific message right now. So you won't get that organizational context from EML Analyzer, but you will absolutely get a quick view across those 900 detection rules to say whether something is or isn't malicious. Now, I want to show you another example here real quick. So I live in West Virginia. Hopefully there's some West Virginia folks on this call. We love our cybersecurity experts out of the Mountain State. But I live in West Virginia, and we have a lake called Cheat Lake, and I take my little puppy there. I just got him. His name's Copper. And as some of you may have experienced in the past, small organizations like a veterinary clinic send messages with some very nefarious indicators, right? So once again, this is for me, sent to me, took Copper to the vet, and I got a message, and it has an attachment, and it's got some strange links in it, and some things just aren't necessarily as legitimate as I would like them to be from a sender. And I would want an email analyst to tell me, all right, is this something that is legitimate? Because I do know this vendor. I do know that my animals are treated at this veterinary clinic, but this looks kind of strange. There's some links in the message that I don't necessarily understand why they would be there. There's an attachment, and I do load it up in Email Analyzer. Now, Email Analyzer did find that this could be a business email compromise from an unsolicited sender. And we can see that in our rule match here that says in the NLU classifier, because the rules that this match something that says, hey, you owe me money. This is an invoice from Cheat Lake Animal Hospital, and we're asking for money. So our natural language understander says, all right, they're asking for a specific target. They're asking for financial gain. So you need to pay us something. So our business email compromise from an unsolicited sender rule did fire, but because of the message details that we see here, where we have legitimate links, the invoice itself was legitimate. It didn't have any links within it as well. We explode that file attachment and show information about that attachment. It came back as benign, which is, I don't want to say just as good as identifying a malicious message, but it is also something that, once again, you can stand down the soldiers so that you don't necessarily have to go straight into an incident. Although it does have indicators of some type of illegitimate email, because we go through a litany of detection rules and look at the message details to come up with a combined attack score and verdict, you can see that this message, although it looks a little bit suspicious, it's actually classified as benign by Sublime. So it's just it goes to show you that looking at details in the message in a unique light each time a message is sent is extremely important, because although this could have been, very well could have been a malicious message, we classified it as benign, and it is benign because old Copper had to go to the hospital one night. So so hopefully that's important to you, and hopefully this is something that you see could be useful. We'll load up one more email here to quickly show you a BEC CEO impersonation. So this is something from our CEO, our own, co-founder and CEO, Josh Kamju, that he saw someone impersonating him. Now, this was some time ago, of course, but Josh is our founder and our CEO, and Ian is the co-founder. So in this particular message, we see that there's a brand impersonation. There's some engaging language, and there's a suspicious length of the body. So the body of the message is quite short. We can see brand impersonation here where it calls out Sublime Security and specifically Josh Kamju. Now, the beauty of this is with Sublime, and even we have a free version of Sublime as well. You have the ability to use MQL in a way in which is customized to your organization. So you have the ability to put in your name or your leaders' names within this. So in this particular case, this rule for Sublime Security includes Josh's name. It includes Ian's name. And we can be very specific about what we're looking for based on your organization. So in this case, we're looking for Josh Kamju. It matched there. We're looking for sublimesecurity.com. We're looking for a number of different things. It's an outlier in prevalence. And we found this to be a brand impersonation of Josh sending a message to Ian. And when we go and look at the message, this is our natural language understanding can say, hey, they want W-2s. Now, this seems very obvious to those of us who've been in the security world for some time. Like, why is one founder asking the other founder for W-2s? Don't we have access to the same information? But this is an attack that is out there. It happens a lot, and unfortunately, there's a lot of organizations that, excuse me, fall victim to these simple things. And with a tool like EML Analyzer, you can help your organization understand whether these things are good or bad. So once again, you can see the text view, the HTML view, the EML view, and the MDM view to really help you as an analyst dive in to the email to understand whether something is or is not malicious. So I'm going to show you something else. So we can actually send messages to an MQL playground. I have a tab open here with that, and this is that message around W-2s. So Josh is asking Ian right here, where our sender and our recipient for W-2 information. Now, what we can see is we can see the MDM that we saw, but you now have the ability to add in your information. So if I wanted to change something here and say Seth Williams, I can absolutely change that and test that rule. And I see that this message has been flagged still with Josh's name. So if you open up a message in EML Analyzer, you can send it to the playground to write some MQL. If you want to learn more about MQL, there's a link right here that'll take you out to MQL. We have labs to help you understand how to use this tool in depth, but you absolutely have the ability to write your own detections. As I mentioned, this is very specific to Sublime, but it could be specific to your organization, to your users, to your VIPs. You can absolutely use MQL in a way that will make sense to your organization. So the next thing I want to show you is our API. So Sublime provides EML Analyzer's user interface for free, but we also supply this as an API to defenders such as yourselves. We want this to be as readily available to the Defender network as possible. So with that, we've provided a free API endpoint that you can work into your workflow to analyze these messages at your leisure. And now I think this is really cool because, as I'm sure most of you have done in the past, is automate, automate, automate. I know that the folks over at Black Hills have done some great automation, and I love to automate. So if you have some programmatic tooling that you're currently using within your environment today, you can absolutely put EML Analyzer in that stack to help get you a response on our analysis based on those detection rules. So that's what I think is probably one of the cooler things that we're doing is not only are we giving you, the visual cue, but we're thinking about what a SOC operator, what a defender must do in their day-to-day life. And this API endpoint available for free is just another piece of good karma that we're putting out there that we want to provide and give you hopefully address a quicker investigation time so that you're not spending so much time investigating .eml files. I mentioned this already, but we do have our Sublime Security /start. You can open the email analyzer very quickly, or you can get started with Sublime. So getting started with Sublime we have a free core product right now for up to 100 email boxes. So within Email Analyzer, you get a glimpse of what Sublime can do, but up to 100 email boxes, you can actually use Sublime for free. And that includes getting that prevalence on your organization, understanding what VIPs that we need to watch out for, writing your own custom detections, and really taking advantage of the full platform. But as a whole, EML Analyzer coupled with the free version of Sublime Core should be a great tool for you to use in your operations. With that, I don't have much else, so I appreciate you all listening, and I don't know if we have time for questions, but if we do, I'm here.
So we had a couple questions about like PII and stuff loading into the email. Could you answer those real quick for me?
Sure. Yeah. What's specifically?
I think people were concerned about uploading the emails and there being PII in the emails. So what's your advice on that?
Yeah, so we do certainly have to store information in order to analyze it, but that information is not stored for a long duration. No one has access to the emails that are uploaded, but we do have to store that information in our infrastructure in order to analyze the message. So the retention period is a short retention period, but it is required for the email analyzer to work.
Yeah. And one of the reasons that we wanted you to be here is one, like we hear good things about Sublime, but the other was that there are people new to SOC, new to analyzing emails, and we wanted to have some kind of like free option for people. So if you could just talk through like what's it like for someone who's brand new to the world of SOC and analyzing emails and how this could help them, just get that like skill, like initial skills that they need in order to potentially get that SOC job in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. So the biggest thing is breaking down a message into understandable parts. I briefly spoke about what a .eml looks like, and if you're new to analyzing messages, if you're new to the SOC experience, then that can be somewhat daunting. There's a lot of information there. Um, it's just a wall of text sometimes. With EML Analyzer, you have the capability to pop a message in, get to the message data model, and effectively search for things that would make sense to the user wherever they are in their learning journey
Mhm.
about security operations. So MDM makes accessing the details of an email extremely easy. Um, Secondarily, you get to see what in a message could potentially be malicious by looking at the rule itself. So that in and of itself is a learning opportunity to say, we have a team of detection engineers who have written rules, and this is the rule that hit against this specific message. You can better understand what fields those messages are found in. You can better understand what we're looking for in those fields. And you can essentially add it to your knowledge base around this is a bad thing. This is where I should look for things in the future,
Mhm.
and really just kind of gain a better understanding of how messages are constructed and how adversaries are using these emails to gain entry.